Hi folks, and welcome back to the Grumpy Gamer channel. That's it, you guessed it. This is that channel where you get to see this old git talk about modern games. So, for today's comments then, oh dear, I just want to talk about what's going on in the world of gaming at the moment. You've probably seen the recent release of the game Dragon Age Veilguard. Now, this has caused some right upset because of the content that's inside it, as well as a few other things. So I just wanted to talk about that quickly and where I worry that the gaming industry is going. Yeah, not great. So basically, this game is meant to be a dark fantasy game. If any of you guys have played the old Dragon Age games, the last one came out about 10 years ago, I think. They were dark fantasy. They were great games made by BioWare, the same developer that made the fantastic Mass Effect trilogy. Obviously, let's not say too much about number 4. But yeah, they made the Dragon Age, the Mass Effect trilogy, which I absolutely loved. And I think most people did. And so we've been waiting for a new Dragon Age game. I was really looking forward to it up until sort of maybe 4 months ago, something like that, 3-4 months ago, and then I started to get concerned. First thing that concerned me was graphically how it looked. Gone are the sort of dark, dingy graphics of it. It's now a Disney Pixar game by the looks of it. You know, the graphics have suddenly turned very cutesy. And so straight away I didn't like the look of it. Yes, they look nice and flashy and brand new graphics, but it just didn't seem to fit to me. So yeah, it had already gone backwards in the graphical department just by the look of it and the way the characters looked. You know, you've got to remember the last one, like I say, came out about 10 years ago. And everybody who played that one has definitely got older since then. So maybe the gamers who are between 18 and 30, well, now they're between sort of 28 and 40, looking forward to the next Dragon Age game. And then we're given this. Here you go. This is what the new one looks like. So already I was worrying until then I started hearing about the writing. Now, just a trigger warning for any snowflakes out there, any wokies that are watching, please don't bother. I know you don't like facts. And so please don't continue to watch because yeah, you're going to get upset, I'm sure. So as long as the wokies are out the way, if you want to listen to and watch my video, you crack on. But please don't blame me if you get offended. So yeah, down to this writing. And it does seem like the game industry as a whole, especially on the flat screen side, is starting to get woke activists infiltrate into the developers. That's the only way I can sort of describe it. And they just incessantly want to put woke propaganda in games, in movies, and they want to constantly ram their agenda down everybody else's throat. Now, I have to make it clear, I've got no problem with anybody's sexuality, whatever they want to identify as, whatever they want to be, knock yourself out, you do you. It's just as simple as that. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. But with this woke stuff that's just, like I say, infecting everything at the moment, it does feel like everything's just being shoved down your throat. I won't put up some of the cutscenes and things like that. I'm sure you've all seen them. There's one now that's almost become famous. When one of the characters, for some reason, says, well, I'm not a man or a woman or whatever, I don't identify, I'm non-binary or whatever. It sounds very, very patronizing from what I've seen of it all. You know, there were definitely in the Mass Effect games, people had different sexualities. You could romance different people, different races you could romance. But it never felt like this stuff was being rammed down your throat. Whilst in this Dragon Age game, I honestly don't know who they've made this for. It does feel like they've made this game for kids, and they're trying to preach and indoctrinate the children into their way of thinking. Well, if you've seen the reviews from the critics, oh, absolute, a return to form. Literally everybody's used exactly the same line. A return to form, a return to form, a return to form. Giving it a 9 out of 10. And then you look at the user reviews. So it's gone from a 9 to, the last time I checked, a 3.8 on Metacritic. So clearly, the majority of gamers aren't happy with this stuff. You know, I truly believe you should not be pulling real-world politics into, and modern-day politics, into a fantasy game. Why would you do that? You know, at the end of the day, we all play games to escape the real world. So suddenly having all this stuff pulled into a game, there honestly is no need for it. So it is obviously upset the majority of the player base, because you've got to remember all this stuff, this woke stuff, is really only a very small minority of society who this really applies to. The rest of us don't care. We honestly don't care. We don't care, like I say, what you do, what you get up to. What we do care is you're preaching to us now and telling us we have to go along with it and we have to agree. And it's like, whoa. Yeah, most people aren't interested in stuff like this. They just want to play a game and get lost for a couple of hours without having this stuff rammed down their throats. And that's what it feels like in this game. Like I say, it feels more like they've made this game for the younger generation and trying to indoctrinate them into this woke mind virus. You know, there have been quite a few scholars that have said that the biggest existential threat to mankind today is the woke mind virus, because it's getting to the point where it's insufferable, really. Like I say, I'm all for live and let live, do whatever you like. But when this stuff's just constantly rammed in your face, and it's ruining the game, clearly, because most people don't like it. They don't like this stuff. The combat's very, very simplified. A lot of people said it's boring. I've seen reviewers saying they actually turned it down to the easiest level because they just couldn't be bothered with it. So the combat's not good. The writing's not good. And I just don't get why they've done this. When you've come from the heights of the previous Dragon Age games, and you're now going down this path with this franchise, it's just going to ruin it. And, you know, I see a lot of people saying, you know, they deserve to collapse. And, well, yeah, I suppose in a way they do. But then again, we're talking about people's livelihoods, people's jobs. And I'm sure there are a lot of people at BioWare who just do as they're told. They have to. It's their job. So they don't have much say in it. But I don't understand. We've seen it time and time again in films, in everything else, in companies. Go woke, go broke. And so I don't know. I don't even know whether this Dragon Age game is going to recoup its costs. I mean, we don't actually have a final figure of what this game costs to produce and to make. Some people are saying it's over 100 million. Some people are saying that's 200. I don't know whether about that so much. But, you know, they've got to sell a lot of copies. And then we see people gaslighting us, saying it's been a fantastic release. Well, the last time I checked that on release weekend, it was like 80,000 concurrent players. That's it, which is really bad for a AAA game. Remember, this is supposed to be a AAA blockbuster of a game, and yet the concurrent players are awful. I mean, they even tried to say that, oh, this is the best-selling game on Steam that's been released day one by BioWare. Hang on a minute, it's the only one that's been released day one on Steam, apparently. So again, they're being so disingenuous to try and ramp up the sort of the discourse around this game when actually it's not doing great. You know, at the end of the day, you need to be listening to the players. And if the majority of gamers don't want this stuff in their games, don't put it in there. You know, like I say, you got no problem if there are people in there with different sexualities and all that sort of thing. Yeah, fine. But it doesn't have to be preachy, does it? They could have done this a very different way, and it wouldn't have turned so many people off this game. I mean, for me, as soon as all these things, I see these things going on, like with the graphics, that turned me off. Then with the writings, turned me off. Then I've even found out that the combat's not great. It's just a car crash all round. Obviously, there are going to be some that enjoy it and love it. Of course there will be. But it's not doing great, is it, this game? It really is not doing great. And it does worry me for the future of gaming. I mean, I was so looking forward and getting hyped for the next Mass Effect. But if this is the way BioWare are going, I can see that being just as bad, if not worse, which would be such a shame. And then is this going to just infect into more and more games? You've probably all heard of the awful company Sweet Baby Inc. that are just infecting the gaming industry. Is this the way we're going, folks? Because, thankfully it doesn't seem to have crept into VR gaming yet. It just seems to be that the AAA gaming space that's in a right mess. I mean, look at how many studios have closed over the last sort of year, 18 months. In general, the AAA gaming space is in real trouble. Real trouble. We've got people at the top of these companies, these corporations that call all the shots, and we know we got developers underneath there that no, that's not going to work. It's going to ruin the game. Nope, you got to do as you're told. Whilst with the indie developers, they don't have those people so much hanging over their heads. And there's the passion there. I see the passion in indie games. They're passionate about the games. They're not, of course, they want to make money, but they're passionate about the games, and that's where it seems to be. With the AAA gaming space at the minute, the passion's gone and it's just about the bucks. And that's the way it seems to be going. I don't think the AAA gaming space is in a good place at all at the minute. I'm sure we'll see more studios closing, with development times getting longer and longer and longer. Some games, 7, 8 years, whatever. And if it doesn't do well, that's it. Whole studio is closed down. But I am seeing it in a lot of different AAA games. It's just look back over the last year. These AAA games that have come out and they've just failed straight away. So I think they are totally lost at the minute in the gaming world. They don't know which direction they're going. They're trying anything. Then there's this nonsense with Dragon Age. Unless something happens different and they turn it round, I don't know how, because so many people just aren't playing it. I'm thankful that actually I'm more into my VR gaming than I am flat screen AAA games anymore. And I think I made this sort of jump just at the right time. Because like I say, at the moment, we're not seeing any of this woke stuff, or I can't see any in the VR gaming space. It's still all about just having fun in those games and not pulling in real world modern day politics into it. So please, if any devs watch this video, stop doing it. Don't ram this stuff down people's throats, because the majority of gamers don't want it. Anyway, folks, this is just me rambling on. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm way off the mark or what. I just wanted to discuss it with you guys and see what you guys think about it. So until next time, folks, I shall see you guys on the other side. Adios. Oh dear.